My boss said, "Ideas are cheap." That idea just got acquired by Google for $12 million last month. My phone is basically a smoke alarm right now. Not one call, not one text. A swarm. Slack, Signal, Gmail, LinkedIn, WhatsApp. Everything lighting up at once like someone flipped a switch labeled public. I'm standing in a glass conference room with Google Confidential on the agenda slide, and my PR lead is mouthing, "Don't look at your phone," while the Google Comms person on Zoom is saying, "We're seeing the story move fast." Then my screen flashes again. Unknown number. Then another. Then another. And suddenly I see the name that makes my stomach drop like an elevator cable snapped. Grant H. My old boss. He hasn't called me in 2 years. Not once. Not when I quit. Not when he tried to block my promotion. Not when he told HR I couldn't handle pressure. But the second the acquisition announcement hits the internet, 2 minutes after Google's official blog post goes live, he's calling like we're best friends who just lost touch. "Don't answer," my lawyer says instantly, like she can hear the ringtone through the table. She reaches across and flips my phone face down. The table vibrates anyway. It's still ringing. Then it stops. Then it starts again. "Grant." Again. Then a text banner slides across my locked screen. "Proud of you. We should talk ASAP. This impacts the company. Call me." Right under it, another banner. "This is IP. Don't make this ugly." My throat goes tight so fast I actually choke on air for a second. Across the table, my co-founder is staring at his own phone, pale. "He's emailing me," he mutters. "He's emailing everyone." The Zoom screen pings with a new message from comms. "We're getting inbound from your former employer. Can you confirm you have counsel?" My Slack channel with our team is melting down. People posting screenshots of headlines. Investors sending congratulations. Friends sending voice notes that are just screaming. And then my older cousin, who I haven't spoken to in months, drops one line into the family chat. "OMG, he's on LinkedIn claiming he mentored you." I snatch my phone back up, ignoring my lawyer's look, and open LinkedIn. I'm not ready for what I see. Grant has already posted. Huge, polished paragraph. "Proud moment. Seeing a former team member's idea reach the market. Blah, blah, blah. Innovation culture. Blah, blah." And then, like he's sprinkling sugar on poison, he ends with, "I always told my team, ideas are cheap. Execution is everything." My hands start shaking, not the cute, nervous kind. The kind where you can't quite hit the right button. He stole my sentence. He stole my humiliation and repackaged it as wisdom. And because the universe loves timing, people are already clapping for him in the comments. "So true. Amazing leadership. Congrats to your team." One guy from my old company writes, "Wouldn't have happened without you, Grant." I feel my face go hot. My co-founder whispers, "He's tagging you." And then I see it. He tags me and our startup, and casually tags Google like he's part of the deal. My PR lead's voice cuts through everything. "Okay," she says sharp. "We need to decide right now if we respond publicly or not. The acquisition announcement is clean. We do not want a messy narrative." My lawyer slides a notepad across the table. It has 2 bullet points written in neat handwriting. "Do not engage directly. Communicate via counsel." Underneath, "If he threatens IP, we respond with records." My phone buzzes again. This time it's not Grant. It's Mia, an old coworker I actually liked, who left a year after I did. She sends one message. "Check your email. He's forwarding your old pitch deck to everyone." My stomach flips. I open my email and there it is. Grant has forwarded a thread from 2 years ago with the subject line RE, Idea Pipeline, Q3. He's CC'd his current leadership team, his HR, some random legal alias, and, unbelievably, me. He attached my original one-page proposal, the one he laughed at, and he wrote, "As you can see, this originated under my leadership at Atlas. We will be exploring our options." Then, like he wanted to twist the knife, he forwarded another email in the chain, his reply from that time. The humiliating reply I forgot still existed. "Ideas are cheap. Come back when you have something real." It's there in black and white, time-stamped, signed with his name. And now he's blasted it to half the city. The room is silent except for phone vibrations. My co-founder exhales like he's trying not to panic. The Google Comms person is waiting on Zoom, eyebrows slightly raised, in that polite corporate way that screams, "This is above my pay grade." My lawyer looks at me and says, "Well?" She taps the screen gently. "He just did half our work." I swallow hard. "He thinks that helps him," I say, voice flat. "He thinks that makes it his." My PR lead says, "We can kill his narrative if we choose our one move carefully." She looks at me like I'm holding a detonator. One statement. Short. Factual. No emotion. Grant's calling again. My phone keeps lighting up. Grant. 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 Like he's trying to wear down my nervous system the way he used to in meetings. He used to do this thing where he'd keep talking until you agreed. Not louder, just relentless. He'd phrase demands as alignment. He'd say, "I just want to make sure we're on the same page," while shoving you off the page entirely. I stare at the LinkedIn post, at his smug little stolen line, at the comments cheering him on, at the email where he literally dismissed the idea, and I feel something settle in me. Not rage, not revenge. Something colder. I'm not playing this game anymore. I open LinkedIn. I don't type an essay. I don't explain my childhood trauma in corporate form. I attach one screenshot. The email where he wrote, "Ideas are cheap. Come back when you have something real." I blur the other names. I keep it clean. Then I type one sentence. "For clarity, this product was built after I left Atlas, on my own time, with counsel. Grant declined the proposal in writing in 2023. See attached. Please direct any legal questions to my attorney." I hit post. My PR lead inhales sharply like she's half horrified, half relieved. My lawyer nods once, satisfied. "Good," she says. "Now we go quiet." On Zoom, the Google Comms person says, "Thank you. We'll route anything further through legal." My co-founder's phone buzzes, and he reads a message, eyes widening. "Grant just deleted his post," he whispers, like he can't believe it. My phone rings again. Unknown number, then a blocked number, then Grant again from a different line. My lawyer slides my phone away like it's radioactive. "No," she says. "He can scream into the void." And that should be the end of it, right? The clean boundary, the quiet victory. But of course it isn't. Because family, corporate family included, doesn't let go without flailing. To understand why my hands are shaking right now, you need to know what happened in that glass office 2 years ago, and why the words, "ideas are cheap," lived in my head like a curse. I worked at Atlas Systems, mid-sized, innovative, the kind of company that had beanbags and motivational posters, but still tracked bathroom breaks like a prison. I was a product manager on a team that built internal tools for other businesses. Workflow stuff, compliance tools, boring but important infrastructure. I was good at it, not in a flashy way. In the way that meant things shipped, customers stayed, bugs got fixed, and nobody noticed because stability doesn't trend. Grant was my director. He was the kind of guy who loved saying meritocracy while promoting his friends. He did this thing where he'd talk over you and then repeat your point in a deeper voice, so everyone would nod like it was brand new. He was charming in public, cutting in private. People who only saw him in town halls thought he was inspirational. People who worked under him knew he ran on pressure and fear, like it was fuel. I'd been noticing a problem for months. Our customers were drowning in manual compliance reporting. They were exporting data, stitching spreadsheets, paying consultants, missing deadlines. Atlas had the data. We had the access. We just didn't have a tool that made it usable. So I wrote a proposal for a lightweight product, something that could automatically generate audit-ready reports, track changes, and flag risk issues. Not a fantasy, a real thing. I did user interviews. I mocked up screens. I got feedback. I wrote a one-pager that was tight enough to survive exec attention spans. I remember walking into the conference room with the one-pager, printed because I was nervous and old school like that. Grant was already there with 2 other directors, casually scrolling his phone like my life was an inconvenience. I presented. 10 minutes. Crisp. Problem. Solution. Market need. Revenue potential. Build plan. I wasn't trying to be cute. I was trying to be useful. When I finished, there was that brief silence where you're waiting to see if you've just changed your career or embarrassed yourself. Grant leaned back in his chair and smiled like I was a kid showing him a crayon drawing. "Ideas are cheap," he said. "Everyone has ideas. Execution is what matters." He tapped my one-pager with one finger like it was sticky. "Come back when you've built something real." I laughed a little because I thought he was joking. He wasn't. He added, "Also, let's be honest. This is basically just a dashboard. We don't pay you to brainstorm dashboards." Then he glanced at the other directors, like he was inviting them to join the joke. One of them smirked. The other avoided my eyes. I walked out of that room smiling like it didn't hurt. I went to the bathroom, locked myself in a stall, and stared at the floor until my eyes stopped burning. It wasn't even the rejection. I can handle rejection. It was the way he made it small, the way he made me small, like I'd wasted everyone's time by trying to solve a real problem. After that, I did what people like me always do when they're told to come back when you have something real. I started building, quietly, carefully, not on company time, not on company equipment, not using proprietary code. I'm saying this because, yes, I'm aware of how it sounds. I did everything by the book because I knew exactly the kind of person Grant was. He didn't just dismiss ideas. He claimed them when they succeeded, and he punished you when you challenged him. So I built a prototype at home on my own laptop. Nights, weekends, not glamorous, lots of staring at error logs while my friends were out living normal lives. I named it something stupid at first, like Report Buddy, because I didn't think it would become anything. It was just proof. Proof that I wasn't crazy. Proof that the thing in my head could exist. The first time it worked, I didn't celebrate. I just sat there blinking at my screen like, okay, it's real. Then I felt this weird wave of grief, because it meant that meeting could have been different. It could have been a yes. It could have been support. Instead, it was humiliation. I started showing it to people quietly, trusted people. One former customer who'd complained about compliance reporting, a friend at another company, a cousin who worked in risk. They didn't clap. They asked hard questions. They poked holes. They said, "If you can fix this, people will pay." I kept iterating. I kept documenting. Every version saved, every timestamp, every decision. And all the while, Atlas kept draining me. Grant kept using me as his responsible worker bee. He'd dump impossible timelines on my desk and then say, "I know you'll figure it out." He'd praise me in private and criticize me in meetings. He'd casually suggest I was not leadership material yet because I was too intense when I disagreed with him. Too intense. Translation: I didn't smile enough while being ignored. The breaking point came during a performance review. Grant slid a document across the table and said, "You're solid," like that was a compliment. Then he added, "But you need to stop getting attached to your ideas. Ideas are cheap." He smiled, like we shared a joke. "You're not an entrepreneur," he said. "You're a support player." Something in me went quiet. I didn't yell. I didn't storm out. I went home, opened my prototype, and watched it generate a report in under 30 seconds. Something Atlas customers were paying consultants thousands to do. I thought about the way Grant said, "support player." I thought about the way he spoke about me like my ceiling was his decision. 2 months later, I quit. I didn't do a dramatic resignation speech. I wrote a simple email. "Thank you. Opportunity. Moving on." HR tried to keep me with a tiny raise and a growth plan. Grant acted offended. He told people I was leaving because I couldn't handle the pace. He said it in that fake concerned voice, so everyone would nod like he was reasonable. On my last day, he shook my hand and said, "Good luck with whatever you think you're doing." Whatever I think I'm doing. I built my company in the space he left. Not because I wanted revenge, because I wanted air. The early days were humiliating in a different way. Not corporate humiliation. Life humiliation. Watching my savings drop. Explaining to my landlord that, yes, I'm employed. Sort of. Eating rice and eggs because it was cheap. Taking calls from potential customers who said, "We love it, but can you do it for half the price?" Getting ghosted by investors after they said, "Super interesting." Feeling like a fraud every time I introduced myself as founder because it sounded like cosplay. I had nights where I'd wake up at 3 a.m. convinced Grant was right, that I was just a person with a cute idea and no real execution. Then, I'd open my laptop and fix one more bug, ship one more feature, get one more email from a customer saying, "This saved us 2 days of work." Those tiny wins weren't motivational poster moments. They were survival. They were the only thing that kept me from crawling back to Atlas with my tail between my legs. We landed our first real client 9 months in. Not huge, but real money. Real contract. My co-founder joined after watching me grind alone for months and finally saying, "Okay, this is real." We hired one engineer, then another. We stopped being a prototype and became a product. We rebranded. We built proper security. We got SOC2 ready. We did all the boring adult stuff that actually matters. Then, last year, Google reached out. Not like, "Hey, we'll buy you." More like, "We're interested in your approach to compliance automation. Can we talk?" I almost didn't believe the email was real. I stared at the google.com domain like it might evaporate. Then I checked it 10 times. Then I forwarded it to my lawyer immediately because paranoia is part of the founder package. The talks took months. Diligence. Meetings where everyone smiled while quietly dissecting your entire business. Questions that made my brain ache. How do you handle edge cases? What's your churn? What's your dependency map? It was intense and surreal, and I didn't tell my family because they'd never understood the slow grind part, only the headline part. When the offer finally came, I didn't cry. I went numb. 12 million. Not billionaire money, not yacht money, but life-changing, team-changing. Proof. Proof that the thing Grant called cheap wasn't cheap at all. It was valuable enough that one of the biggest companies on Earth wanted it. We signed last month. Quietly. Under layers of NDAs and legal language. The kind of quiet that feels like holding your breath for weeks. And today, the announcement day, my old life came crashing back in through a single man who couldn't stand being left out of the story. Grant didn't just want credit. He wanted leverage. The second the acquisition went public, he tried to make it about Atlas, about his leadership, about his culture. When that didn't work, he went straight to threats. IP, options, making it ugly. Here's the thing he didn't count on. I counted on him. I had receipts. Not petty receipts. Legal receipts. Documentation of when the idea was proposed, when it was declined, when I left, when the first code commit happened, on my personal machine, when the first customer signed. I had an attorney from day one because I didn't trust the kind of people who say, ideas are cheap. People like that only respect paperwork. So when he emailed my co-founder and threatened a lawsuit, my lawyer responded within 15 minutes. 3 paragraphs. Cold. Factual. No emotion. She attached the exact email where he dismissed the idea. She attached the resignation date. She attached the first commit date. She wrote one line that I almost laughed at. Your client's own correspondence is dispositive. Lawyer speak for. He cooked himself. Google Legal got involved fast. Not dramatic, just efficient. They don't play with threats. They sent a letter to Atlas's general counsel, basically saying, any attempt to interfere with the acquisition would be met with immediate action. Polite corporate words, sharp teeth behind them. By mid-afternoon, Grant's LinkedIn post was gone. His comments praising his team disappeared too. People started whispering in my DMs. Did he get told off? Did Google shut him down? He's spiraling. Mia from my old company messaged me again. He just got pulled into a meeting with legal and HR. Like, right now. Then she added, he's blaming you. Of course he is. And because he's Grant, he tried one last move. He called me from a blocked number, and when I didn't answer, he left a voicemail. I didn't listen to it for an hour because I didn't want his voice in my head on this day. When I finally did, I held the phone away from my ear like it might burn me. His voice was calm at first. Hey, he said, like we were friends. We need to talk. You're making this complicated. Then the mask slipped. You think you can embarrass me publicly? He snapped. After everything I did for you. You wouldn't even be in those rooms without Atlas. Without me. He paused, like he expected me to respond through the voicemail. Then he hissed, ideas are cheap. I'll prove it. I deleted the voicemail. Not because I'm fearless, because I'm tired. The consequences landed fast and messy, like they always do when a power-tripping person loses control. Atlas employees started reaching out privately, some congratulating, some apologizing, some admitting they'd seen Grant do this to other people. One guy I barely knew wrote, he said the same thing to me. I thought I was crazy. The group chat with my old team split into factions. A couple people defended Grant because they still needed him. A couple people went quiet because they were smart. Mia sent me a single message that made my stomach twist with a mix of satisfaction and sadness. HR is opening an investigation. He's been doing this to multiple people. Then she wrote, "I'm sorry we didn't back you then. I didn't know what to say to that. I still don't. My own team handled it better than I expected. We didn't gloat. We didn't dunk on him. We just kept moving. We stuck to the announcement script. We took the interviews. We did the calls. We answered questions about the product, about the mission, about what's next. I watched my co-founder talk to a reporter like he was born for it, and I felt proud in a quiet, tired way. And then the day started ending. The adrenaline wore off. The phones slowed. The Zoom windows closed. The office emptied. My PR lead finally left after reminding me to drink water like I'm a toddler. My lawyer packed her bag and said, "Text me if he tries anything else." Google Comms signed off with a cheerful, "Congrats again," like my nervous system wasn't still humming. I sat alone in the same glass room where it all began this morning. My phone was face down. For once, it was quiet. Then it buzzed again. A new email. From Grant. Subject line, "We can resolve this." I didn't open it. I forwarded it to my lawyer. Then I blocked his email domain. I stared at the wall for a long time. Not in a cinematic way. Just drained. The kind of drained you get when you realize you've been carrying someone else's voice in your head for years. And today, you finally set it down. I picked up my phone and opened LinkedIn one last time. My post was still there. The screenshots still there. The comments were different now. Not cheering Grant, cheering the truth. People saying, "This is why documentation matters." People saying, "I've heard that line before." People saying, "Good for you for protecting your work." It wasn't validation that fixed my past, but it did something important. It made the gaslighting fail in public. And then the final beat hit, quiet and sharp. A notification popped up from Mia. Grant just got removed from the project leadership channel. Like, admin removed. People are screenshotting. I stared at it. My fingers hovered over the keyboard. I could have replied with a dozen petty things. I could have written, "Ideas are cheap," with a laughing emoji. I could have tried to savor it. Instead, I typed back, "Thanks for telling me. Hope you're okay." Then I turned my phone off. Not airplane mode. Off. I walked out of the office without checking messages, without refreshing headlines, without letting Grant rent space in my brain for one more minute. Outside, the city was doing normal city things. People walking dogs, traffic, someone yelling into a phone about dinner plans. And it hit me how weird it is that your life can explode online while the world stays boring. When I got home, I opened my laptop and found that old email thread again. The one where Grant told me to come back when I had something real. I didn't reread it for pain. I reread it like evidence that I survived. Then, I did the only response that actually mattered. I clicked print, slid the paper into a folder labeled closed, and shut the drawer. And when my phone turned back on later, and I saw 14 missed calls from numbers I didn't recognize, including one that I knew was Grant trying again, I didn't call back. I didn't explain. I didn't negotiate. I sent one message through my lawyer's email address, a single sentence that ended the story on my terms. "Do not contact my client again. All future communication will be treated as harassment and handled accordingly." Then I declined the next call as it rang. And for the first time in 2 years, the words "ideas are cheap" didn't land like a curse. They landed like proof that he was wrong.